Today we're going to talk about equipment, right? So out there on the internet, I hear it all the time. It's like, you don't need a 1 second draw, all this other stuff. I get it, but why not both? It's not that hard. And the thing I see most in my classes is that people's equipment is being a severe impediment to their speed, all right? So when you're carrying concealed AIWB, it's really for a couple of reasons, right? Well, the first one is you want to defend yourself and your family. It might be with the new explosion of AIWB in competition. I've been doing it since, 8, 9 years ago, but the front runners right now are Donovan Moore, Point One Tactics, and Buck Lawler of Strapped Academy, the two first grandmasters from AIWB and USPSA. So it's not just self-defense or whatnot, it's also competition. You got to set up your equipment to be as efficient as possible. You need to figure out what your balance is between concealment and performance, all right? What do I mean by that? If your holster is so low that your front strap is basically touching your belt, you can conceal your gun very, very well to disappear, but you can't get to it because you can't get your fingers in there quickly in order to pop that gun out of the holster. On the other hand, if your gun is so high that it topples over your belt line and you're walking around like this, well, that's just rude and you're going to stir the horses. So equipment will help you find that balance between concealment and performance, right? And you got to have both. Okay? So I don't want this to be a commercial from Tier 1, but obviously you guys know they're one of my best business partners, a sponsor of mine. They make my 2 Pro models. Love them to death. A lot of other great holster makers out there. I think they all are going to have some of the same characteristics, right? So I'm going to take out my Tier 1 Pro model here. Couple of things, right? First thing is I like 2 wide clips that are very adjustable. If your individual holster does not let you raise and lower the holster based on your gun's grip angle, size, or whatnot, you're limited. Okay. Also, if it doesn't let you get enough to where you can get these 3 fingers in between your gun and your pants or your belt, you're going to have to do extra math. That means you have to curl your fingers in there, okay? So adjustable ride height, wide so the gun stays in the same place. But Scott, I like my 1-clip holster. That way I can move it around when I'm sitting down. That's awesome, man. But that just means when you're sitting down in your car or whatever, the gun moved and it's not where you thought it was, okay? So I would tell you, get these 2 wide clips that are adjustable. Some sort of claw, different types of claws out there. There's the Dark Star claw. There's the Tier 1 claws, a whole bunch of other ones out there that are all very, very good. Or the OG Spencer Keepers, where he kind of put the claw in as part of the angle of the holster. You need that for a couple of reasons. The first one is, yes, it pushes the butt of the gun in, right? Because what really prints is the butt of the gun. The other thing it does is it pushes the belt line out so your shirt rests on that, right? So that you can get this much more concealment, all right? Other things, adjustable retention. I've heard people say that in a proper retention is you can hold the gun upside down outside your pants, the gun doesn't fall out. I think that's too much retention. I think most of the retention is going to come from the tightness of your belt. So if it's already 100 here and then you put in your belt, then it's 200. And that's when you see people draw, they go, and they pop it up, and it's not very efficient at all right? I like mine to scrape out of the holster. That way, if I'm sitting it down on my nightstand or something like that, it doesn't slip out, okay? Do you need a sidecar or not? I don't care. You're an American. Do what you want. I used to not particularly think I needed a sidecar, but when we came up with this design and applied it to my holster, it doesn't print. I don't perceive it to be any heavier or extra weight, and it doesn't block anything else I'm trying to do or carry. So why not have it in case you need it, right? If not, cool, you're an American. Do what you want to do. The other important thing is some sort of wedge on the back. Lots of great aftermarket ones out there. Again, you got Tier 1's versions. You've got, I think Dark Star makes some, Philster makes some, JM Custom Kydex makes some. They're all great, right? I like to customize mine. I'm a big guy. I carry full-size guns. So I took, I think I did this like 10 years ago. I took a yoga block, cut it up with a knife, smoothed it out with a Dremel, double-sided Velcro so I can transfer to holster to holster. Again, that pushes the gun out so that you're not muzzling yourself when you holster or at any time. A couple other things it does. It makes it more comfortable because the yoga block and all the other types of wedges out there are soft, but they retain their shape. Also, it spreads the weight of the mass of the holster across so you don't get any hot spots. And the other thing is if you're shooting a match or you're shooting 1,000 round plus class, that heat transfer stops at the wedge, okay? So putting it back in the pants, right? Real easy. The other important thing is your belt, okay? I'm not gonna tell you everybody knows what a good belt is. It's gotta be stiff. Depends on your body type, right? What works for you and what doesn't work for you. I'm a round shape. I used to be a lot rounder, but I like belts that are stiff all the way around. Core belts, Nex belts, Aries gear belts. If you're more of a thinner oblong person, maybe something that's just stiff where you need it. Blue Alpha belts, Hunter Constantine's The Belt. Things of that nature. Buy one of each, figure out which one works best for you, all right? Now, how that all comes together is, again, with ride height, okay? So again, we've got my 5-inch PDP jam, right? This is the plastic one done up by my boy Monsoon Tactical. Clear gun, okay? I like to have my ride height. I like the gun to be pretty flat on the back strap, right? Slight angle, but that's okay. And what I meant about the 3 fingers, it needs to be high enough to where these 3 fingers can come in and the back of my thumb can hit the back strap without really bending my fingers, right? So there's no math. So when I wind up drawing, right, it's here, straight down with what I call the claw grip, middle knuckle to middle knuckle, and the gun just presents out a little bit quicker, and the gun just comes out, all right? And we're really just popping the gun out. We'll talk more about that when we talk about aggressiveness to the holster, but plenty of good kits, good holster makers out there. Again, obviously I'm biased toward Tier 1 because they make my pro model and they're fantastic guys and amazing shooters. A lot of good other holster covers out there. Some of my favorites, LAS Concealment, Dark Star, JM Custom Kydex, the OG Spencer Keepers. The list goes on and on. If it has those components to the holster, now you're on your way without any impediments to your speed to a good AIWB draw. More on that next time.